In less than 2 months, two practically unknown Brazilians went from just a few thousand followers to over 2 million each. One of them said he saw a UFO and the whole country stopped to listen. The other one recorded an emotional outburst while crying on Paulista Avenue and moved millions of people. Both gained fame, money, advertising deals, and opportunities that most Brazilians will never have. But here's the thing. In a short time, both were exposed. But the most frightening part isn't that they lied. The most frightening part is that even after everything was exposed, almost nothing happened to them. In this video, I'm going to show you all the details of these two cases and what the Bible has already warned about this kind of behavior. I'm Pastor Antonio Jr., and before we start, I ask you to subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell because I want to help you in your walk with God every day, alright? So let's get started. The first case was UFO Mike. This guy recorded a video saying he had seen an unidentified flying object. And the story went so viral that he went from just a few thousand followers to exactly 2 million in a matter of days. When people started investigating and managed to prove that the story was made up, everyone expected him to apologize or at least disappear. But he did the opposite. He started landing advertising deals, made money from the fame, and even mocked those who tried to expose him.
Mike Leão exposed. And then you go to my profile and see an ad for Copa do SBT.
And the most impressive thing is that the followers are still there to this day. And now, less than 2 months later, an even more serious case has happened. On June 25th, a guy named Lincoln posted a video on Avenida Paulista, visibly emotional, venting about the life of a Brazilian worker. He showed his hands full of calluses, said he was never ashamed of working, complained that ground beef has become a luxury, that with 100 or 200 reais, you can hardly buy anything these days.
A desire to stop renting, a desire to succeed, a desire to succeed. We work, we give our blood, we give our sweat, we keep fighting. I'm a worker, but there's no way. How am I supposed to get by? How do I move forward in this country? How am I supposed to get anywhere? How am I supposed to hope tomorrow will be better? An hour of work here, just 1 hour, you could buy Ireland, it seems like. With 1 hour of work, you can buy groceries, you can buy things, fruit, you can buy all sorts of stuff. With 1 hour of work there, it's what I spend on a whole shopping trip here, you know? Then we look at all these luxury buildings here, and we wonder, how did these people manage to get to this point in a country like this? How did they do it? If we work so hard and get nowhere, how did they succeed?
The video surpassed 50 million views, 4 million likes, and Lincoln went from around 160,000 followers to over 2 million in less than 5 days. The impact was so big that even Deborah Blando commented on his video. But the most important comment was from Pablo Marçal, who wrote, "Brother, I'll help you." And that comment alone got almost 100,000 likes. Marçal personally went to Lincoln's house, picked him up by car and then by helicopter passing through Alphaville and Santana de Parnaíba. And from that moment on, Lincoln's life changed completely. Marçal offered him land to build his house, gave him professional mentoring, held the family's wedding at a resort, and arranged for his daughters to attend school at an institution in Alphaville up to the 9th grade. He even brought a businessman named Luizão to include Lincoln in a launch project, all filmed live. And in a lecture by Marçal, Lincoln even said that honesty and faith in God were the things that put him in that place, and that if he had chosen the wrong path, he could be in jail or could have lost his life. It turns out that the day before Lincoln posted his video, a guy named José Paulo, known as Miranha Mineiro on Instagram, had already published a confession that is practically identical. José Paulo is a worker who dresses up as Spider-Man to sell cakes in jars on Avenida Paulista. He recorded the video in the morning after leaving home at 7 to work and having all his cakes confiscated by the municipal guard because he didn't have a license to sell. 2 days earlier, on June 22nd, he had sold his own speaker to buy the ingredients for the cakes, and now he was left without the speaker and without the cakes.
I didn't have a license to sell the cakes in jars, you know. I woke up feeling really bad, man, you know, waking up feeling terrible, thinking, man, we work so hard in this country and we don't get anywhere, you know. It seems like the system wants poor people to stay poor for the rest of their lives, you know. I've never been ashamed to work, man, you know. I never have. Look at these hands here.
And when people started comparing the two videos, both of them start by saying they woke up feeling bad, that they work too much and never get anywhere, that they've never been ashamed to work, and that ground beef has become a luxury. And both of them raised their hands, showing their calluses at the same moment in their speech, line by line, gesture by gesture. And to make things even more complicated, accusations came up that Miranha himself, who was accusing Lincoln of plagiarism, had also been involved in questionable situations.
In 2025, he tried to pull a scam. He lied, saying he had saved 2 whales and that he was being fined by IBAMA. And he tried to make money off of it, saying he needed to pay the fine, pay a lawyer, even the Floripa Mil Grau newspaper, right? Which is a profile here was already going to give him the money to pay. The lawyers later found out that he was lying, that he wasn't the one who saved the whales. It was another surfer.
And after these accusations, the profile of Miranha Mineiro simply went offline. We don't know if it was taken down or if he deleted it himself, but the revelations about Lincoln didn't stop at the similarities with Jose Paulo's video. When people looked into his life, they found out that Lincoln was already a professional content creator, and he already had more than 100,000 followers before the video blew up. Yeah. In one of his own videos, Lincoln says that he doesn't work for a shipping company, that he lives exclusively off social media, earning in dollars on Kuai, TikTok, YouTube, and with ads on Instagram.
A lot of people are talking about money, about how much I make on the platforms, about how much I don't make, but I think if I tell you the amounts I'm reaching, it will help you chase your own dreams. I went to check the balance I was due to receive. You know how much, family? $912.
He even shows the balance of one platform and amounts that were already over 5,000 and almost 6,000 Rias in total across the platforms. His income was already higher than 90% of the Brazilian population. And it doesn't stop there. Lincoln owns his own house. He kept a Pix request in his bio, supposedly to get out of renting, but he had already been gifted a property by Pablo Marçal himself. In one video, he negotiated a 110,000 Rias house in the countryside.
Yeah, just reminding you guys, my lot is 422 square meters. The house has 3 bedrooms, an open plan kitchen, and a living room.
People on the internet themselves started calling him a real estate businessman. And to top it off, old videos of Lincoln were dug up, where he appears supporting the current government and openly criticizing the right. But the question that remains, bruz, is this. Why even after all this, do these people still have millions of followers? Why does it seem like lying pays off? Because what I see happening is something that scares me. Lincoln received a house, land, school, and advertisements. Jose Paulo, who was really in that situation, became invisible. His real suffering was copied and turned into a product by someone else. And this doesn't happen only with influencers. We see the same thing with politicians who are caught in corruption scandals and keep getting re-elected. People know the truth, but they prefer not to accept it. Because admitting they were deceived hurts more than continuing to believe. And I want to show you something that's written in Jeremiah chapter 5, which goes along with what we're seeing. Take a look. Something horrible and revolting has happened in the land. The prophet's prophecy lies. The priests rule by their own authority, and my people like it that way. Look at this, brothers. God isn't just saying that there are people who lie. He's saying that the people like it that way. Human beings like to be deceived. This is scary, because we think that if something is a lie, people will notice and stay away. But that's not what happens. The large crowd keeps following, and even after it's exposed, the person hardly loses relevance because people don't accept that they've been deceived. They prefer to believe the lie. And that's why you see influencers with millions of followers who commit very serious offenses and keep living their lives normally, as if nothing happened. And the Bible shows that this isn't new. When Avshalom wanted to steal King David's throne, he would stand at the city gate and say to everyone who passed by, "If I were a judge, I would bring you justice." And the Bible says in 2 Samuel chapter 15 that Avshalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. He didn't need to prove anything and did nothing concrete for anyone. He just said what people wanted to hear, and that was enough. Brothers, people don't follow someone just because that person is convincing. Many times they follow because that person gives them exactly what they want to feel. Sometimes it's hope, sometimes it's revolt, sometimes it's the pleasure of being part of something. And when this desire is born inside someone, all it takes is for anyone to show up and fill that void, and people give themselves over without questioning. It's the same thing that happened with the golden calf in the desert. The people couldn't stand waiting. They wanted a visible idol and even gave up their own jewelry to create a golden lie. I still don't know what's true and what's a lie. Nigh between Lincoln and Jose Paulo. I can't vouch for either of them, and only God knows what really happened. I hope Lincoln rethinks his actions, changes his attitude, and stops looking for shortcuts to get ahead in life. Lying doesn't get anyone anywhere. Jose Paulo, who opened up and showed how life can be unfair. Sometimes, I hope he stays strong if help comes from people. Amen. But if it doesn't come, may he not lose hope or stop fighting. Keep working, trusting in God, and moving forward, because the Lord does not abandon those who trust in Him. And to Pablo Marçal, regardless of his motivations, may he continue using the resources God gave him to help others, because every bit of help makes a difference. But putting this case together with Mike's and the UFOs, the conclusion I come to is just one. Be very careful with who you follow. Don't believe people right away. And most importantly, be wary of people who record themselves crying. The more convincing the scene is, the more cautious you need to be, because maybe the easiest way to move someone is by crying. And there are people who have learned to use that very well. I'm Pastor Antonio Jr. If this message made sense to you, share it with as many people as possible and watch the videos I've put here on the screen. Okay, may God bless you powerfully. Big hug.